Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Sun Sunday Spy Show. This is episode 14, if I'm not mistaken, with David Von Houten of Morbid Sauce. And Morbid Sauce is pretty interesting to me, especially because it's pretty local to me. He doesn't live too far away from where I live, so I'm going to definitely enjoy this one. So without further ado, I shall bring in David himself, and we shall talk to him a little bit, get his story, and find out more about his wonderful products. Welcome, David.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, so I'm David, creator and founder of Morbid Sauce. Feels a little bit weird to say something like that out loud. But yeah, so this all started with me kind of being tired of a lot of hot sauces. So most of the hot sauces that you can find in the stores are really just really vinegary. And I'm sure I hear that a lot nowadays. Like a lot of people say that sauces are too vinegary, and that's why they started making their own. And so, yeah, that was kind of true with me too. So I started kind of playing with them about a year and a half or so ago. And the first one that I made was a mango habanero sauce, which I think is this one right here, Assisted Suicide. And the naming was fun. It was me and my fiance were kind of like messing around, like, hey, what should we call this? There's a lot of really fun names, like Aloha Pain, and like just a bunch of really weird, silly stuff. But I ended up kind of really liking the morbid kind of sauce names, and so Assisted Suicide sounded really dark, and I really liked it. So we started kind of naming all of them after really dark and morbid stuff. And yeah, a lot of them are also really hot. Like one of the founding things here is that I will not make a mild sauce. It's against the business model here. It has to be spicy. It has to be hot. Doesn't mean it has to be like competition level, like this is chemical bitter hot. They're all very flavorful, but they're also all hot. And if you like hot food, it's good. If you like really, really hot food, you'll enjoy it. If you can't handle hot stuff, you'll wish that you could. Is the general consensus that I get. A lot of people, like my fiance's mom, for example, she loves it, but she can't really handle it that much. But then she'll still eat it. So the flavor goes in. It speaks for itself a lot. Yeah, I started actually making them and bottling them for about a year now. It's been Christmas for last Christmas was when I was gifted some of the equipment that would take to actually make a really good sauce, Vitamix. So that was when I really started being able to make something that wasn't like thick and pulpy, but actually really smooth and saucy. And so then just learning bottling techniques and getting that all down and making the labels. And before I knew it, they all started coming together. I was originally not even going to make them for the public. I made them solely because I wanted something that I would enjoy. But then as I started to share it, there wasn't a single person that said, hey, I don't like it. Like everybody liked it and everybody offered to buy it. And about like 50 people telling me at some point, throughout like a few months' time, like you should definitely start selling this. It would sell, it would buy. And sure enough, I started going down that route. And I made my first case of like 24 bottles, and they sold in like 2 or 3 days. Like they were gone, just insanely fast. I was like, well, I didn't advertise them. They sold themselves. So that was really inspiring and motivating. So I just started kind of making more of them as I wanted to kind of expand. And the expansions were kind of really local to the first one, as in like, so we have euthanasia here. Euthanasia and assisted suicide are essentially the same ingredients with a skewed ratio. So one of them has like a little hint of ginger, and one of them is, hey, there's a lot of ginger here, but it's not like too overkill. So euthanasia is going to be really good with like your Thai food, your Chinese, your Asian types of foods, because you'll really get like that good gingery feel with getting a lot of heat from it too. And it's like more of a not so much of an Asian heat where you're going to have, Thai chilies. It doesn't really have any Thai chilies in it. It has mostly habaneros for the source of heat, but the ginger is really what works together with some garlic and mango. Not mango, maybe a little mango. Garlic and ginger are like the big powerhouses in that one. Not overbearing though. And then they kind of just started branching out. The Ghoulish Overkill is really good, but also really disappointing to me because I wanted it to be competition level hot. And I found that you just can't do it. You can't do it without extracts. At least I haven't figured out how to do it without extracts yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's various ways of doing it. I do like, what you were saying, considering, about the flavor before the heat. And, that's the one big thing that we like a lot. We do, of course, the people that do watch this, the friends of mine that do, they do love their heat. And we like everything from like all the way down from the mildest to the highest. Normally I'd have the hot mama here with me, but she's busy with nursing school. And she, because I love the really high level heat and she likes the low heat. So it's a perfect description of, we're able to give a perfect review, of products. And that's something that I enjoy. I will say I love the artwork on these, and as you well know, the first thing that attracts you to a hot sauce is the artwork. So when you look at it, you can see that, beautiful script, not it's simple and amazing, great, just a nice, and all of them, even down to I love the assisted suicide.
Thank you. Yeah, full disclosure that all the artwork is completely my fiance's doing. I did the sauce making, and she was the mastermind behind the labels. They would not be anywhere near as good without her. She's really artistic one.
Well, 10 out of 10 for that because it looks fantastic. And normally I see a black and white label, and it's normally the white with a fair amount of black on it. So to see a nice dark black with super white with a beautiful color. So I'm going to start with some of this. I'll start with your Santa Muerte, if you can tell me about that one.
So Santa Muerte is interesting because it's got tequila in it, and the tequila gets cooked out. So what you end up getting is like this blue agave flavor out of it from the alcohol being cooked away. So it's going to be like your Serrano green verde sauce, but with a hint of some cactus with it too. And so it's pretty simple. And this one actually has been revised lately to give it a better viscosity feel to it. It basically ended up adding more tequila to it.
That's always good.
Yeah. That was my logic too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice color, beautiful glaze and pour on it. Of course, Verde, and that's the latest thing going around, Verde Wars, and these are some of the. Yeah, that's a nice tasting sauce. I can't taste any tequila, like you said, and I get the hint of the lemon and the lime coming through. But the peppers and the jalapenos work together great. It's a perfect, for me, this would be like a 1-2 on the heat scale, barely a 1. Again, I've got a very high tolerance, so don't judge, I'm normally abstract sauce.
Yeah, it's not hot. It's the most mild one.
It is.
You can only get so hot when you're using serranos and jalapenos.
But the taste, David, the taste on this is fantastic. It really is. It has an amazing taste on it, and the texture is great. Very good green sauce, this one. 10 out of 10. I like that one a lot. So our next one would be the assisted suicide.
Yeah, one of my personal favorites.
Tell me about the assisted suicide some more then.
So, other than it being the original sauce that I've made. It's the traditional, the mango habanero. The twist on it is there's just a hint of ginger in there, and so the ginger you'll taste it, but it shouldn't be overpowering. Just enough to give you a little bit of a floral kind of after flavor there with it. And yeah, the artwork was pretty basic. This is one of the earliest designs that we had for the artwork. Was the what is he called? Billy. I'm gonna get shot by my fiance. Billy Goat. I think it's Billy Goat. Jacob Scope, or Jacob Sheep. Something. One of those animals. The one with the 4 horns. And so, yeah, just as you see, yeah. So that guy, and that one's just like the epitome of what morbid sauce is. Most of these other labels have a little bit of a deeper meaning, but this one, just being the original one, doesn't need like any kind of weird cryptic meaning or anything to it. It's just simple and you enjoy it.
Beautiful sauce, nice grip on it and everything. Again, a beautiful color, almost a caramel color on that. It could be my liking too. Oh man, I'm a big fan of fruit sauces, and I can see what you're saying about the mango habanero. They work really well together. It's a really good mango sauce. I feel exactly what you're saying about the ginger. I feel it coming through, but just as I feel it coming through, it just recedes, and I get more of the hint of more of the heat and a little bit of the pineapple.
Right. So one of the big things about this sauce, which is it's good and it's bad depending on how you want to receive that, but they all have the common characteristic of a fleeting heat. So they might be intense at some point, but it won't last long. It's not going to be like a 30-minute painful experience or like a 15-minute even painful experience. You'll enjoy the heat, and then just as much as you might think it gets a little intense, it'll start fleeing away just as much. So then you want to eat more of it.
Yeah, it's a very, very comfortable and very, very bearable and enjoyable heat. It's not one... And it's not one, I've noticed that it's not one that just targets. Normally I'll get one that targets the tongue, targets the lips, targets the mouth, targets the throat. That one, the assisted suicide, just covered everything perfectly. It gives a nice, even burn. And what was that? Yeah, the ginger. But the burn is beautiful. It's a great, great burn. Very enjoyable. I'm going to move on to your next one, which is euthanasia. There's another fantastic, beautiful artwork on the front.
Yeah. And that artwork's a bit of an Easter egg. If you know what it is, you know what it is. But if you're watching this, I'm going to tell you. It's called a krasu, and it's like a Southeast Asian ghost. And so it's not original in the fact that I've made up the whole thing, but it's based off of Asian mythology. An Asian mythology because it's complementary to Asian foods. So there's a little bit of thought put into it.
Give this a little bit of a shake up.
Yeah, and absolutely, all of the sauces will need quite a shake up before using them.
Again, yeah, this is another one of those, again, with beautiful color on it. Fantastic. Nice and thick, and just as you say, slightly more overpowering on the ginger, but not overpowering.
No.
You can definitely tell it's a ginger sauce, but the sweetness is coming through. It's blended very well. And now here comes the heat. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't get any taste of heat whatsoever. And I'm like, oh, is this hot? And now I just get a slight buildup of it.
Yeah.
And again, it's a nice heat that spreads around and doesn't just target one particular area. One of the things that I'll say to the people at home, you know, David's working on he's working on the website, morbidsauce.com. I can pull it out, but if you notice, right next to that is an Instagram. So you can get hold of him on Instagram, definitely through Morbid Sauce, is it?
Right. At Morbid Sauce.
Yeah, at Morbid Sauce on Instagram, you can get hold of him. And if any of you guys are interested in what he's doing. Lucky for me, because he doesn't live too far away from me, so I'm lucky in that respect. And I do like, with this euthanasia now, yeah, the heat buildup is great. It's fantastic. And again, this would probably be the limit to where the normies would be at if they were even in the race. But for any of the big pepperheads, this is just
enjoyable.
Yeah. Very enjoyable sauces. So the next one I'm going with, and I love the combination of the peppers, the skull, and the pineapple.
Yes. Yeah. As the old Jolly Roger.
Yeah, sweet heat stroke. Yeah. Again, love the designs. The bottle designs, the label designs are fantastic. Oh, I might like to smell that one too. So what can you tell me about the sweet heat stroke?
So this one kicks it up a little bit, but this one kicks it up with our bell peppers for the most part. I mean, there's going to be pineapple and habanero and ginger and carrots, not ginger. Pineapple, carrots, and habaneros are the main heat source. But then there's also going to be chili de arbol, which there's quite a bit of that in here because I needed to find a way to make it hotter after having so much pineapple put into it, because there's a lot of pineapple in it. But the pineapple just completely diminishes all the heat. So I needed to go with something like a dry pepper of sorts. And so if you look at it, you'll see like little speckles of the red chili de arbol in it. And that's where most of the heat's going to be coming from. This is my favorite sauce for wings, by far. My favorite wing sauce.
I bet this would be like, this is, I was just going to say, this is a perfect wing sauce, even by the color and the stickiness of it. And it does. It has a nice building slow heat that burns right on the lips where you'd expect a wing sauce to burn.
Yeah.
Right on the lips and the front of the mouth. I love the color of it, and I'm sure that the carrot has helped to add to the color of that.
I actually strategically added the carrots solely for color because I didn't like how all three of these sauces were so close in their color identity. So in order to change that with sweet heat stroke, I wanted to add carrots to it so that it'd give it its own color and its own personality within.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's a nice sweet one. It's not overpowered with pineapple, but you can definitely taste the pineapple in there.
Yeah. I think that's the common trait with most of these, is they're all a little bit sweet. Even the ones that you wouldn't expect to be sweet are somehow still a little bit sweet.
Well, I'm a big fan of sweet, definitely myself, and including in the sauces. So with this one now we're sticking it up a bit. We're moving into the ghoulish overkill. Reaper and Ghost Pepper.
Yeah, so this one was really fun to make. I made it, and from this point on, to make this sauce, you must wear an N95 mask. You cannot make this sauce without having an N95 mask. And when COVID started hitting and everybody started buying them up, and people started looking at you like you're an evil person for buying them for yourself, I had to ignore those glares of hatred because, like, hey, like, I need this. Like, it makes the lab area where I'm making sauce unbreathable. you cannot breathe without choking and coughing because of the amount of Carolina Reapers that are going into it. And so yeah, and I made it. The original batch was, hey, I want to make something that I can't handle. Let's make a sauce that I can't handle. And so I started like pouring some Carolina Reapers into it, and everything is red with this one. So we got Carolina Reapers. There's some Jolokias in it, and then there's some tomato paste. It's a red wine vinegar as the vinegar catalyst there. So a lot of red's going on, but red wine vinegar is also sweet. Tomato paste is sweet. Then you have like the garlic with it to help balance things out. So making it balanced. I took a spoonful of it, and I was I recorded it actually, and I watched the recording, and you can see the disappointment hit me. Like, it's hot, and you start seeing me sweating a lot, right? But there's also like this look of sadness, like I can still handle it though. I can still handle it, and so ultimately, in my mind, I kind of failed because you can still handle it, but the end product is a very delicious, higher end heat product, and so I think you'll enjoy it a lot. It's still sweet though. Like, that's probably why it's not as hot. It's because yeah, I couldn't go any higher. If I added more peppers to it, I could have made it hotter, but this sauce by far is the most expensive sauce to make, because purchasing, if you're not growing peppers, I'm not growing peppers, I have to buy them. And if you're buying Carolina Reapers and Jolokias, they're expensive. They're very expensive. Making a 15 bottle batch costs over $100 just to get the peppers. You know, they're very, very expensive. And so just to break even, I have to sell this one for $15 for a bottle. And I don't really profit on it. It's just adding to the repertoire, really.
Oh, well, it's understandable. The smell on it is great. I like the smell on it. And as with all the other sauces of yours that I've tried, the pour on it is fantastic. And the glaze is just stupendous. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's a great, great color. Oh, yeah. See, this is where we're going.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, this is the one that I like. You know, the heat is kicked up definitely higher than the other ones. I can definitely taste the Reaper, and the ghost pepper, the boot jolokia, is definitely coming through too. But the Reaper is not as overpowering as a Reaper sauce is normally, you know, because normally that Reaper has that bitter taste.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. I think it's not super overpowering. It's what I would call like a classic Reaper sauce, but not as bitter.
Yeah, well, the thing is, with this sauce, adding the tomato kind of takes away the bitterness of the Reaper and lets you taste the fruitiness of the Reaper. Reapers, I think, are actually a very fruity pepper if you could get past their bitterness. And their heat, of course, but they are kind of a sweeter pepper, I still think. Or else that's just what I got out of them when I ate one. And that was one of the most painful experiences of my life, by the way, is eating a Carolina Reaper. But I had to do it. Because what kind of hot sauce creator hasn't actually eaten one straight? And so did it as like a crew pack with my guys at work. And my heat tolerance is still pretty good, because I was only suffering for 15 minutes. They were suffering for 30 minutes of like peaking pain. So that peaking pain was bad though. Like I don't know how you handle like drinking elixirs of just tinctures of crazy fiery stuff. I'll start wigging out. I'll start twitching and like can't stay still. I decided that I wasn't good to drive when I ate the Reaper pepper. I was like, I can't stay still.
Well, that's the endorphin rush that you get It was
Yeah.
like a couple of months ago. I met up in McKinleyville in the brewery. I met Steve and Michelle and Cal and Heidi from Humboldt Hot Sauce. We met up there, and we just had we had lunch, and everyone brought some sauces and some tinctures. And Steve knocked out the 24K Untouchables right at the end as we were getting ready to leave. And I'd never heard of it, or I kind of heard of it, but I'd new tasted it. And when I read the ingredients on it, it just said ethanol, Carolina Reapers, and 24 karat gold flakes. And that was it.
Wow.
And we did like just over half a Robbie, so half of a dropper each. Because we'd been burning all day and we hadn't really ate that much. We'd been mostly burning. And I was going to drive home.
No.
As soon as we did that half a Robbie, we were floored, David. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to sit down like now. Otherwise, I'm going to sit down on the ground.
Yeah.
So I sat down and Steve was bent over, and it's hard to describe because normally you can get the taste in the mouth of the heat. But it was one that got you. It's probably one of the hottest that I've ever tasted. So much so that when it was getting ready to go, a couple of minutes later, I'm like, I'm definitely not driving. Because my mouth was just, it was burning. It was an excellent burn, but it was an amazing endorphin rush.
Yeah.
Right, let's go with the last one of yours that I have, which is Death of Unknown Cause.
Okay, so we should talk about this one because this one's you have a Death of Unknown Cause. So the reason why it's called Death of Unknown Cause is because this is the proxy patsy bottle when I'm just experimenting and playing around. So this is not something that will ever be sold to people outside of my circle because the ingredients are, if you look at them, they are actually in Daedric, which is from the video game The Elder Scrolls. It's the we'll call it like the demon race language, right? And the ingredients there are a very specific song lyric. If there's anybody out there savvy enough to want to translate it.
There is, believe it. Someone will translate it. Someone will go through.
So, but the ingredients are inconsistent, so I don't have them listed, and I don't want to sell them because they might at some point have an allergen, so I can't risk putting that out there and just giving that away. But this one in particular, it's basically the mystery bottle, right? So this one is a chipotle habanero sauce, so very good. It's not that hot. It's probably right there around Santa Maria Day. It was just an experimental one. The one thing that you'll notice from all of the sauces is that part of the naming ritual is that the name always has to be some form of something that you can die from. Like, because it's morbid sauce. It's got to be a little bit morbid, right? So Death of Ghoulish Overkill. That's kind of
this one is very tasty. I can see that. I can taste the slight chipotle in it too. It has that smokiness.
Oh yeah.
This one is very delicious. And as you were saying with the Elder Scrolls on there.
Yeah, and so the next one that's going to come out that probably get made in like the next couple of weeks or so is it's going to be called Asphyxia. And that it's going to be the actual Chipotle lineup. It's going to be a Chipotle raspberry sauce. So it's going to have, I can tell you part of where my brainstorm is going with it, that it's going to have raspberry. It's going to have Chipotle. It's going to have adobo. It's going to use balsamic vinegar as the catalyst. And then it's probably going to have a hotter pepper. At the very least, it's going to be habaneros. I like habaneros because they're inexpensive.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Well, that one I do like a lot, and it has decent heat in it. Definitely, it's not as hot as the Ghoulish Overkill, but it does have great heat with the chipotle overtone. And as I was saying about your ingredient label, I think we had one on here not too long ago, and it was all binary.
Yeah.
And people worked it out. You know, you just take it and figure it out. So,
and I really want to get you. I can't wait to get you the blackberry one because I think that's going to be a real treat for you. I'm not sure if you ever had hot sauce on ice cream, but
all the time, David. All the time.
Okay, because that's the hot sauce you put on ice cream right there.
Excellent. There's one. I use one from my friend Eric Begg. He's out of soy sauce in Canada, and he makes one called Cherry Noble. And
okay, yeah.
It's super hot, and on ice cream, it's just unbelievable. Because you're like, I'm burning, and then that ice cream is nice and cool and calming. I'm burning again.
Those extreme sweet berry flavors, if executed properly, go really good with desserts and really good with pancakes. Those are the two things that I just absolutely love it with those.
Yeah, I do know that, you know, especially around here with the blackberries and the raspberries, we've only got a certain time of year that we can, you know, harvest them or get them. But
yeah. Last year I only got about 2 kilograms of them, but now that I know just how valuable they are to me, I'm going to probably be out there deep in wherever I'm going to go and just find a lot of blackberries. And I'll come back injured, but it's not really making hot sauce if you don't get hurt along the way a little bit. You know?
Yeah, just before the turn that you come into Ferndale, right there's a whole hedge.
Right, yeah. The big thing with harvesting blackberries is I want to make sure that I'm far away from a road. And it's not that I'm concerned about exhaust fumes, although that's what some people are concerned about. It's more about the toxins that were in the pavement that seeped into the ground over the years and could contaminate them. So I call them highway blackberries, and we stay away from those. But I do have a friend on some private lot, and their blackberry bushes get way out of control, and they welcome people over. They go over there, get some blackberries, pay them in a few bottles of hot sauce. Everybody wins.
Yeah, definitely. Excellent job. Well, this has been very enjoyable, David. I've been looking forward to tasting these, and I'm sure that I'll be in touch with you soon, because I know that there's going to be. I already can see Heiko right here. He's like, I already want the whole set. Well, you're going to have to be patient, Heiko.
Yeah, some of them are low in stock right now, so there will need to be some reproduction. But we do have, I don't know, about 144 bottles that are ready to go that just need to get sterilized and processed, and they'll be good. So.
Yeah, well, I'll be in touch, because I'm sure I'll have a few orders for you. If not, if you can see, as I put down below, you can get hold of him right here. It just says down at Morbid Sauce on Instagram.
Great. All right. Well, great. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, most definitely. Well, we'll talk to you soon, David, and good luck.
All right. Thank you.
As you guys saw, that was David Van Houten of Morbid Sauce, with some just amazing sauces, man. I got to tell you, the taste on these are just off the charts. Really did like that assisted suicide. Love the labels on them. You know, now that we've got a full screen, you can basically, I'll just run it over again and show you the basic, you know, just those. That artwork is just spectacular. Beautiful looking bottles. So if anyone is interested and, you know, you really need to have some of these, just give me a call or send me a message and I'll get hold of David. As I said, he is local to me. Well, this has been Morbid Sauce, and I've been Jeff the Fireman. Tune in next week. Stay spicy. I've got to find the outro somewhere here. I know it's somewhere here. It's definitely not that one. Definitely not that one, but it's this one. Take care.